Welcome to A Quest for Metal, and today we're counting down my top 20 death metal albums of all time. You guys voted for it on the poll, and yeah, we're here to deliver. I'm going to give you my top 20, so before I do, pop down in the comments below your favourite death metal albums of all time. What's your absolute favourite? What gets your blood pumping? What gets your neck snapping? All that juicy stuff. Pop it down, and let's get started with the list. First up, we have Gorguts with the album Considered Dead, which is their debut, and in my opinion is the best Gorguts album. I do really like the second album as well. I'm not the biggest fan of Obscura. Coloured Sands is a bit better, a bit more coherent. Obscura's just never been for me. It's the same kind of sound as like Imperial Triumphant, and those avant-garde kind of bands don't do much for me. I like the old school death metal, so Considered Dead is so much better to my ears, in my opinion. It's like a proper death metal album through and through, and I adore it, which is why it's on this list. And not throwing shade at people who like that stuff, that's good for them, more metal for them. But for me, the first two albums, ooh, those are perfection. Fucking love them. Number 19, another classic. This is one that a lot of people will probably have on the list. Cryptopsy, None So Vile. You gotta love the artwork. You gotta love the severed head artwork. You gotta love the artwork, and you gotta love the music within. Mental as hell, evil as hell, and fast and technical as all shit. Technical as all shit, brutal as all shit. This album has everything for you. The sound is perfect, the vocals are perfect, the brutality is perfect. It's just an amazing death metal album. The only reason it's not higher, and it's probably in like a top 10 for a lot of people, but the only reason is there's just so many good death metal albums that I love. So yeah, here it is, I'm afraid. Number 18 is Deserted by Gatecreeper. This is a newer album. This is a newer band. Kind of reviving that old school death metal style. And it's higher than Cryptopsy and Gorguts. What the fuck is going on? But I don't know, I've played the shit out of this album. I love Gatecreeper to death. There's going to be some more newer bands on this list. I'm not just going for the old classics. There is going to be some new shit like Gatecreeper, because I just think they're absolutely flawless and one of the best newer death metal bands to come out in the last century. So fuck, yeah. Deserted by Gatecreeper. I love it. 17, back to the classics. Left Hand Path by Entombed. One of Sweden's, classic death metal bands. And this is one of the best. Clandestine, I almost put here. I really love it, Clandestine. Wolverine Blues gets a bit weird, but I still really love that one as well. But Left Hand Path is Left Hand Path, man. I mean, it's a classic for a reason. Every song hits. Every song is amazing. Left Hand Path just has to be on people's radars, has to be on people's list, because it's that goddamn good. 16, Eaten! Nightmares Made Flesh by Bloodbath. You'd think I'd have like a Mikkel album by Bloodbath on this list, but no. This is the fucking best Bloodbath album. I mean, all the songs are just so memorable, so punchy, so catchy. This is probably like the catchiest death metal album ever. You can just sing along to most of the songs, and let's not forget Eaten, one of the funnest, best death metal songs to sing out ever, alongside Hammer Smash Face and stuff. So, yeah, love this album, love his vocals. Oh, the vocals are so good. And it's not Mikkel, sure, but it's still a fucking flawless album, and it's one of my favourites of all time. Number 15, Trample the Weak, Hurdle the Dead by Skinless. Oh, this is death metal, right? It's brutal death metal. It's not grindcore. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, because this is very Anal Nathrak-esque, sounding, but it's a bit different. It's a bit less black. There's no black influences in it at all. So I think it is just pure brutal death. But tell me if I'm wrong, and then I'll change this pick. But I fucking love this one. It's crazy, it's intense, it's insane. I love all the kind of voice clips that they have from like movies and other stuff before some of the songs, and it just gives it that edge, gives it that punch. And all of them are just brutal as fuck. If you've never heard of these guys, go check them out. Skinless, amazing brutal death metal band. And if you love stuff like Suffocation, Cryptopsy, all that shit, you will love these guys, especially if you like Anal. Then check out Skinless. 14, Manor of Infinite Forms by Tomb Told you some newer shit's gonna be here. Tomb Mold, one of my favourite, my favourite newer death metal band. Not just because the name's from Bloodborne, and that's one of my favourite games of all time. I mean, maybe partly that. But I love the themes in it. I love the riffs. This is the kind of death metal I love. The cavernous kind of like dripping with filth and slime. And that's what this... I mean, even the name, Tomb Mold. Come on. It's got that Obituary-esque flair. And I fucking love them. And it's going high. It's going higher than Entombed and Gorguts and all that shit. I don't give a fuck. It's my list. This is one of my favourite albums. So, fuck it. It's good. 13. Those Whom the Gods Detest by Nile. Speaking of fuck you, it's good. Loads of people hate this album for being too slow, for being too long, maybe proggy-esque for a Nile album, which are usually very technical and very just in your face. And, you know, I love Nile, you know? I say I love Nile, and I've forgotten the name of it. In the Catacombs of something Ra. Fuck it. You know the one. And also Annihilation of the Wicked. Oh, flawless. And the new album? Flawless. But for me, it's always this one. It got me into the band. This one got me into the band. I don't know. There's something about it. And that title track, Those Whom the Gods Detest, when they sing the chorus in that, I love it. Sure, it's slower. Sure, it's kind of doomier, but Doom's one of my favourite genres. So I like death metal that's kind of slow. Death Doom is fucking amazing. This has that kind of flair in some of the songs. So, I don't know. I love this album. You know? Hate me all you want, this album's fucking fantastic, and one of my favourites of all time. Number 12, Morbid Angel, back on the classics. Altars of Madness is the best Morbid Angel album. I'll have no arguing for that one. Or maybe a little bit of arguing. Blessed Are the Sick is fucking amazing, and I really love Covenant. But, you know, there can only be one. Altars of Madness, the debut, it's frantic, it's furious, it's chaotic, it's like the most... Is it the most evil? It's the most death metal. It's the most death metal they've sounded. Blessed is probably the most evil. But, yeah, I love this album from start to finish. Chapel of Ghouls, come the fuck on. Morbid Angel, great fucking band. And the first album was my favourite. So, yeah, here we go. Number 11, Dismember, massive killing capacity. The artwork for this just hooked me straight away. I was like, this is like Bolt Throws kind of shit. This is like some kind of Space Marine. This is like some fucking 40k Warhammer shit on the album cover, and I love it. This album is just... I could put like an Everflowing Stream, which is a flawless 10 out of 10 album. And I almost did put it here. I almost did. It's a masterpiece of an album. But this one, it got me into the band. I heard it before, like an Everflowing Stream, and I just fell in love with the hooks. Fell in love with the hooks, the vocals. This is another one of those catchy albums, kind of like Bloodbaths. And just the riffs hit. The vocal melodies are cool, the choruses are fun, they get stuck in your head, it's just a great romp, and it's one of my favourites of all time, so, you know, it's just going short of the top 10. So top 10 death metal albums of all time. Number 10, Immolation, with Dawn of Possession. This is my favourite Immolation album. They don't really have a lot of bad albums, to be honest. They are quite a consistent band, but for me, the debut, come on. The fucking debut, the artwork's perfect, completely encapsulates the music itself. It's dreary, it's evil, it's dark. It's exactly what death metal should be, and Immolation is one of the kings, and, you know, I gotta have an album by them, and it's gonna be this one, because this one's fucking amazing, it's one of my favourites. And now looking at the list, I forgot Incantation, which probably would have made the list as well, but, you know, hindsight 2020. Immolation, fucking amazing. 100% on the list. Number 9 is Suffocation, Effigy of the Forgotten. There's quite a few Suffocation albums I could have picked because they have a fucking shitload of amazing albums, but my favourite has always and will always be Effigy of the Forgotten. The album art, to me, just feels like the Matrix. I don't know if I'm the only one. Those kind of robot things coming along, taking you apart, gonna fuck Neo up. It feels like that. Maybe it's just me, but that's what I get from it. But the music itself, technical, evil, brutal, and I think they were the pioneers of technical death metal. Correct me if I'm wrong for that one as well. I read that somewhere. I don't know if it was the very first technical death metal album, and it was like 1991 or something. So any of you death metal history buffs, because my brain's a sieve, let me know if Suffocation did create technical death metal as we know it as a genre today. Because it'd be interesting to see who actually was the fire starter for that whole genre. Because I did read that it was this album by Suffocation, and Suffocation were the people who created technical death metal. But, you know, we'll find out. Someone tell me in the comments below, because it'll be interesting. But yeah, this album, flawless, fantastic, 100% making it onto the list. Number 8, Testimony of the Ancients by Pestilence. Oh, Pestilence is fucking amazing. This death metal band is one of the greatest of all time. And you'd think I'd have Consuming Impulse here, because that is a flawless fucking album, and everyone praises that, and I praise that. It's fucking fantastic for people getting into death metal, but I just think Testimony's better. I just think it's better. It's more, I don't want to keep saying proggy, but it feels more proggy. It's more spacey. There's more interesting things going on in the music. I don't know, it's just, it feels like a more complex and matured album, in my opinion, and I fucking love it. Spheres is amazing as well. Yeah, I love Testimony of the Ancients. It's just, it feels like a step up. It feels like a step up from Consuming Impulse, in my opinion. Even though I do love that, and I think that's a 10 out of 10, this is always going to be my favourite. So, yeah. In the top 10. Number 7, Starspawn by Blood Incantation. Another newer band. This is the first album and they've only got 2. But this blew my fucking socks off. I heard the Hidden History of the Human Race first, last year. And I was like, it blew my mind. And I was like, fuck, I want to check out their other album now. See how good that one is. Man, even fucking better. Even fucking better. Starspawn is, again, spacey, interesting, proggy death metal. I wanted to try and keep melodic death metal bands off this list, so you're not going to see like Monomorph and shit. And I wanted to keep like prog death off this list, so you're not going to see Opeth and shit. This one slipped in because I do feel like it's more death metal than prog, if you know what I mean. I do feel it's more on the death metal side than the prog metal side, whereas Opeth is prog metal through and through. I mean, it's fucking prog metal. Whereas Blood Incantation, I feel, is proper death. It's spacey, sure, but so's Nocturnus AD, and they're considered fucking death metal. So, yeah, Blood Incantation, amazing new band, and I fucking love them, and this album is flawless. Number 6, Last One on Earth by Asphyx. Similar kind of conundrum as the last one. I didn't want death doom bands on this list. This one, however, is more on the death metal side. You say, who's Asphyx? And usually it's a death metal band, you know? Usually people would say it's a death metal band rather than a death doom band, because that's what they started out as. And the Last One on Earth is just a fucking amazing death metal time. You know, it's got those slow kind of doomy riffs without going too far into the death doom. Feels slow, methodical, evil, feels kind of like Autopsy. The vocals are out of this goddamn world. I love the vocals, and yeah, what can I say? It's fucking flawless album, this one. Flawless album, and yeah, it's 100% going to the top 10. It's one of the best death metal albums of all time, and it's one of my favourites. Top 5 now, and I was just speaking about it. Autopsy, Mental Funeral. Easily could have put Severed Survival. Another fucking amazing album, and the later albums are amazing as well. Mid-era me. But this one is my favourite. Yeah, talk about doomy, talk about chugging riffs, talk about hard-hitting fucking riffs and that atmosphere. Autopsy has it all. Mental Funeral, work of goddamn art. And the artwork inspired by, like, The Thing, John Carpenter's. I mean, come on. Beautiful. Beautiful. Easily making it into the top 5. I love it. Number 4, classic artwork, classic band. It's got to be Obituary. Cause of Death. The chopped in half. Oh, sorry, chopped in. It's too good. It's like one of the best death metal songs ever. Body bag. I mean, come on, like the whole album is flawless. I love Obituary to death, and it's got to make it onto people's list. If you make a top 20 death metal albums list and Obituary isn't on it, you're a hipster little shit. You're a fucking asshole. But I respect your opinion. Even though it's fucking wrong, but Obituary is amazing, and what can I say? You all know Obituary. It's one of the biggest ones. One of the biggest death metal bands. Alongside Morbid Angel, Cannibal Corpse and that shit. So, you know, go listen to the album. It's 10 out of 10. It's amazing. So after this video, go listen to Obituary. Number 3, Cannibal Corpse, The Bleeding. My favourite Cannibal Corpse album. This is the band that got me into death metal. What can I say about The Bleeding? It's Chris Barnes' last album, and I think he went off in style because his album's perfect. I do prefer Corpse Grinder now. Like, all his albums are fucking amazing. The Bleeding is always on top. Stripped, Raped and Strangled is on this album, and that is my favourite death metal song. Well, one of them. The chorus in it. Oh my god. When I heard them live, like, I was singing the chorus, like, screaming the chorus out, because it was just, I just loved it. Loved it. Every song on this one's a killer. No filler. The Bleeding is perfection. Now, number 2 and number 1 was really hard to decide with, kind of, because I've really been getting into number 2 recently, like, really. And they're, like, my favourite death metal band. You know, they're my favourite death metal band. But there can only be one number 1, so number 2 is Bolt Thrower, The Fourth Crusade. Again, this keeps a similar theme as kind of doomy, death doomy, similar to Asphyx, similar to Mental Funeral. So, you know my kind of style, likes that shit better. And what can I say about this album? The riffs hit fucking hard. Bolt Thrower is known for good riffs, and the riffs in this album, man, the fucking riffs. Phenomenal. Bolt Thrower is amazing. Fourth Crusade's easily my favourite Bolt Thrower album. Always has been, and always will, but the others are fucking 10s as well. Mercenaries are 10. People shit on that album. Fuck you. Mercenaries are 10. You know, For Victory is just mind-blowing. The newest one, which completely gone out my head, When the Cannons Fade and all that shit. Fuck, you know what I mean. You know the one I mean. All Bolt Thrower's albums are great, but this just happens to be my favourite because of this particular sound in it. Yeah, love it. It's number 2. So, number 1. What band have I not talked about? Death metal. What band have I not talked about? Yeah, it's fucking gay. The number 1 is Death. I mean, I'm wearing the fucking shirt. The album Scream Bloody Gore. Again, I'm wearing the fucking shirt. Kind of a spoiler for the video. But Scream Bloody Gore created death metal. You know, this is the first death metal album. Shut up, Possessed fans. You don't get a fucking say here. Death was the sound of death metal. Scream Bloody Gore, Evil Dead. Evil! Dead. Come on. Mutilation. Oh, come on. The fucking songs on Scream Bloody Gore. The title track. Zombie. Ritual. I was gonna scream it, but I don't think my neighbours would like that. I can like whisper scream it. Ritual! The Zombie Ritual's fucking 10 out of 10. All the songs are 10 out of 10. It's balls to the walls insane the entire way fucking through. And it's a flawless album, the best death album. The others are more proggy and shit. And I like them. They're all 10s. There's no bad death album. But for me, Scream Bloody Gore takes the fucking cake. Takes the biscuit. Yeah, my favourite was always Death. Always gonna be Death. Scream Bloody Gore, one of my favourites of all time. Leprosy's close. Leprosy is very fucking close. And so is the rest of Death's discography. But I adore Scream Bloody Gore. And you should too. So that was my list for my top 20 death metal albums of all time. Let me know down below what's your favourite death metal album of all time. Are you annoyed because I shat on Possessed? I love Possessed. Possessed's amazing. I saw Possessed live and they were fantastic. But the thrash metal, in my opinion, same as Venom. They're not black metal, they're thrash metal. Bathory created black metal. And, Death created death metal. Death for death, Bathory for black. You want to argue all that in the comments? Go be my guest, because I won't reply. I just like to start the fire and let it burn. So that does it for my list. Top 20 death albums of all time. What's your favourites down below? Let me know, and we'll see you again on another Quest for Metal.